Ba, 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 ba. Hey everybody, this is Mike, Kilo Oscar 4, Papa Delta India. How is everybody doing today? I'm checking my places where this is supposed to be live to make sure it's live. We're having a nice conversation tonight with the one and only temporarily offline ham. He has been so gracious to come and join me for this hour, and we're going to talk all kinds of ham radio stuff. If you have any questions for him, get in the chat, type it in the chat, and we will try to answer all your questions. All right. This is Kilo Oscar 4, Papa Delta India with the Magical Mike's Ham Fun Podcast. And we're going to welcome right now in the room the one and only temporarily offline ham, Steve.
Howdy.
Steve! T.O.'s
Howdy.
here. Do it.
Howdy, everybody. Howdy, everybody. Steve here, KM9G. Everybody
All
asks
right.
me for that now, except for that one guy that I met at the Belton Hamfest. I hate your intro. Okay, all right. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. I mean, even if you're wrong.
That's your brand, man. You got to pull the cap down, got to do the point to the, oh yeah, you got it.
You know how hard it is to start a video?
Uh, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I do it.
I know exactly how hard it is because I just did. We are here with Steve. I met Steve, oh God, 2 years ago at Huntsville. I think I met you. And
Yeah, you had a cabin next to us.
yeah, I was camping right next to you guys at the Monsanto State Park. And yeah, you had a new radio back then. It was pretty cool. You were showing it to me. It was a nice little radio, a little handheld, a little HT. And the one thing I've learned about you, Steve, is ain't nobody holding you down.
That's
When
right.
I met Steve, he was just recently homeless. Now you might say, how could he be homeless? He's got a good pension. He's doing all right. But
You
he
sell your
drives,
house out from underneath of yourself. That's how you become homeless.
yeah, you sell your house. And
Yeah.
he's
I
doing
mean,
all
I'm an
right.
orphan too, if we want to really tug at your heartstrings.
He has been traveling the country since a year ago, August, right? Oh no,
Yep.
when I met you, that one the first time I met you when I was next to you. That wasn't that year, it was the next year,
It was the year after that. Yeah.
August of 23. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was August of 23, where you decided that you didn't want to have a house anymore, which having a house myself, I get it. The only thing I don't like is I can't move all these giant antennas around on a motorhome. I
Oh, you just got to get creative.
Yeah, I'm sure. I have a couple of end feds and a off center fed dipole, a couple of Yagis on a rotor that I do satellites with. And boy, I'll tell you, this past weekend, you might have enjoyed this. I mean, I know you're not a big satellite guy, but
Not yet.
I went for the 40th anniversary of ARISS. That's amateur radio on the International Space Station. And I got to meet astronauts. I got to meet kids that are just getting started. For instance, James Lee's daughter, Hope, did an amazing presentation talking about what she's doing. And then at one point, I talked to her by her booth. She was there with Shaq in a Box and her dad. And I went up to her and I said, so, Hope, what are you working on? And she started talking. And after the first 2 minutes, boom, it was going right over my head. I had no idea. It all had to do with propagation on Mars with no atmosphere. And I was just like, or the moon with no atmosphere. How do you do HF
Yeah.
communication if you don't have an ionosphere? She's
James has got
working
some
on that.
smart kids.
She's going to invent a way to do that. And later on during the day, I saw her talking to two former astronaut billionaires who are developing new stuff every day. And I was watching her hold court like she was the queen of hearts, and everybody was just listening to what she had to say. It was amazing to watch. The kid is smart and she's going places. And her goal is to make the first HF communication originating on the moon. And I thought, that's a lofty goal. And she goes, yeah. And then when I'm done with that, I want to go to Mars and do it from there too. And I was like, give somebody else a chance. She's just that smart, and she's got a bright-eyed future. She's got such a great attitude, and it's a wonderful thing to watch. But Steve, so you have been into ham radio since when? When did you get started in ham?
So I've been playing around with technology for a very long time, but ham radio itself, I didn't get started until I want to say 2016 as a guess. I don't remember the exact date. It's kind of a blur at this point. But yeah, I've been following. You see those ham radio license plates on cars, and I was like, oh, there goes one. There goes
Yeah.
one. You know?
Oh, I like to look at them and go, "Ooh, that looks like it could be a call sign. Let me
Yep.
see." Go to QRZ and check it out. Yeah. Well, when was that again?
The license plate thing was my entire childhood, but I think it was 2016 is when I got my license. I'd have to look it up.
Nice. Yeah, I got mine in 2021, and I can't believe when I got into it, I thought it was glorified CB. I was ready to say Breaker 19. What channel are we on? 19.7. What? And my brother's like, no, 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 no. It's totally different. And he convinced me to go get my license, and I did. And I think probably within the first couple of weeks, I met my buddy Jim, who has become my Elmer. And he said to me, you could talk to satellites on these radios. I went, what? I can talk to, I've been watching the space program since Alan Shepard. And I'm like, I could talk to satellites? And he explained it to me. And then he showed me his FTM 400. And I said, why am I messing with DMR? This is so much easier, right? Yaesu system, the Wires X. The only thing I don't like about Wires X is you can't get it with an open spot. You can't get into it unless you have a Yaesu radio. And I think that's a big detriment to Wires X. You can get the YSF rooms. You cannot get into a Wires X room. Unless NAPC Brad has been telling me you can, and he knows how to do it. I'm like, teach me because I want to do it. And it's never happened. But I always hear you need a bridge. I don't even know what a bridge is. Anyway, I got into it. I got my license in April. I got my general in August. And I've tried for my extra 3 times and have not made it. I've been getting like 18 wrong. I think the max you get
Oh,
wrong is 15.
yeah, you're real close.
I know. I'm like right there, right there.
There are
And every
some
test
that
I
are
took was 18.
There's some that almost seem like trick questions because of the way they word the answers. They're not wrong, but the phrase that they use in the answer is so close to the right answer. It's like one word different, and that one word means everything. They're
Means
trying
that's
to
the
get
wrong
you.
answer. I know.
Yeah.
I talked to Jim Reed. He was at this thing down at Kennedy Space Center too. He's in the process of helping write the new extra questions. By the way, happy hello, Greg. Greg, K6EGG is watching me for a change. I always watch him.
Nice.
Tony's here, KB9RAO, and Andy Cowley, my brother from another mother in England. It's late for him. He's staying up late tonight. But good to have you here. Who is Mike India 7 Delta Juliet Tango? I don't know who that is. He doesn't have his name there. Tell us your name. But welcome. So I've started this YouTube channel and I call it Ham Fun because one year at the DX dinner at Huntsville, the keynote speaker came out and said, what is it with hams? You get 3 in a room and in 10 minutes you have 2 clubs.
Right.
Like that is so true. I have learned that myself in the 3 years that I've been a license holder.
I've been
And I
there.
said, I don't want to do that. I don't want to have enemies. I don't want to hurt people. And there are a couple of people I talked to on a Michigan Wires X room that are pretty left of center. I'll just say that. I'm not calling them names, but I get along with them fine because we don't talk politics. Not because we shouldn't, because I believe you should be able to talk politics, even if you disagree, and be friendly about it. Not have an
Yeah.
argument about it. Don't
It's
hate
that
somebody.
last part. What I have found is the people that don't really know what they're talking about, but have a lot of emotion invested in it, those are the ones that you can't talk to. They start to get
Right.
real loud.
Right. Yeah, whenever somebody starts getting loud, I shut up. I just listen.
Yep. Yep.
And
I
when they're
know.
done,
I
I'm
get
like,
it.
did you have a bad day today? Did you get up on the
Yeah.
wrong side of the bed? Did you haven't your wife hate you? Did you not do the laundry and she's mad at you? Like I don't know why you get so upset. Because I'll tell you, Steve, my brother was 58 years old and he passed away in 2022 from the jab, and nobody's gonna change my mind on that. And
Speaking of politics.
well, that's not even political, that's medical. But I'm
Right.
just saying, I learned a heavy duty lesson. This life is not it. This is just a temporary stopover in eternity to me. And I don't want to spend that time angry or upset or starting issues with people. I don't want to do that. I want to have a comfortable yet nice life. And I
That's
want
a
to have
fantastic
friends.
perspective. I like that.
Lady across the street, biggest leftist on the face of the earth, moved to Florida from Chicago, okay, and or the Chicago area, and she doesn't know what she's talking about when it comes to politics, and it sometimes frustраtes me because she doesn't. You can't have a political discussion, but Steve, This woman can cook. She's the Emerald Lagasse of my street. And what's really nice is they don't have any kids. It's just her and her husband. Every now and then I see her husband shuffling across the street with a little Tupperware, and I'm like, yes, I'm getting good food tonight.
Dinner time, baby.
And a nice beef stew. So yeah, we had let's see, Amon, Eamon from Northern Ireland is watching. Wow, we're making
Yeah.
a stretch. We're getting out there. And we got England, Northern Ireland. Thank you for watching, guys. I really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
he's a regular over on the Nugget show.
Yeah, let's hope we can get a few more followers on YouTube. I did break 500 finally. I got
Nice.
501, so that's good. And as far as the podcast, I've had very good luck. I had Mike first. I had Vern six. I had the Smoking Ape was the best. I had like 20 something people watching when I had the Smoking Ape on. So that I just got to tell you, you got a lot to live up to catch up to the Smoking Ape. We're only at 7 right now.
Yeah, well, I
So
taught him everything he knows, so they'll be here soon.
Steve's going to be topless in 10 minutes. So tell all your
Right,
friends to get over here.
right,
Although
right,
you
right.
probably enjoy seeing me topless better because I got the man boobs going. But
Did not need to think about that.
this is what I mean. We're having fun now, right, Steve? So,
You're
what are
right.
you using for a radio right now? What in your travels? I guess when you're at a home, you can set up a temporary setup. I did that when I went to see my mom in
Yeah.
Wisconsin. But
I have a ton of radios with me. I have more radios than I know what to do with, so I keep trying to, you know, feel like I've gotten to the end of my dreams and desires on projects with them and then get them into some other worthy ham's hands. So I've got an FT891, I've got an IC7100, I've got an FT100DR. That's 100-watt HF rigs. Then I've got the
right,
705, the X6100, the G90. Those are QRP mainline rigs. Oh, I've got an Elecraft KX1. This is all in the back of my truck, mind you. I've got a
yeah,
QDX, a QCX. I've got a couple of 2-meter rigs. I've got an FT8800. I've got a FT90, which is a small dual bander from Yaesu that you might know of. I've got a whole bunch of Chinese radios, a whole bunch of HTs, and I'm getting rid of them as fast as they're coming in. That's the rule. One in, one out, man.
that's nice. That's nice. And I know you get them, you test them for people and companies. You do videos on them, and then you
I
give them
do, yep.
away. I think
Oh, an
that's good as
FT5D,
well.
that's right, Hayden. Mine works.
I got an FT5D that works too with the big battery on the back. It's in the kitchen.
Hayden and I got ours at the exact same time on the exact same day, and he has used his exactly 0 times. It's still in the box.
Wow. That's my go-to HT at home because I have a node on a FTM 400 here that I access our Wires X room with that, and I use the HT around the house. I also have my All-Star node on the AVFO and the Wires X node on the BVFO, so I could jump back and forth all day long. And I'm tied into
Nice.
Jason's uh, KC5HWB. That's his call sign. Yeah, I
Yep,
tie into his
All-Star.
All-Star node. So every now and then I'll hear him and we'll chat for a little while or whatever. All right, we're moving. We're up to 11 now. Okay, so I don't have to get naked. All right, great. I'm glad.
More people on stream, please. Please help me out.
I'm noticing here we have, let's see, we got Illinois checking in. Where did I see that? Tony York. How you doing, Tony? Good to have you here. TO's here. We know that. And yeah, it's great. TO's able to chat on the chat. I'm not because I'm not coordinated enough to look here and type and look up at the camera. So I don't chat during the podcast.
We all have to
So
walk before we can run, Mike. It's okay.
are you going? What's your next Hamfest you're going to?
Actually, this weekend, Houston Ham Fest.
Okay, how big is this? Is it a big one?
Be my first time going. I don't know, but there's going to be a bunch of the YouTubers there. We've got a booth set up, and we'll be talking. We'll be
Excellent.
shaking hands and kissing babies.
Yeah, financially, I got to kind of back off on it. I might not be at Huntsville this year because
Oh,
I had to go down to this thing down at Kennedy Space Center, and I was staying in a no-tell motel. It was cheap, and there's a reason it's cheap. Kids are waiting for the bus for school outside the door in the morning, so that'll give you kind of like idea what kind of hotel it is. And people were cooking all night long. I could smell it in the hallways. But I was only there when I
they
slept.
were cooking.
Yeah, whatever. I was happy I got out of there alive without any roaches coming home with me. It was what a dump. Anyway, I won't do that again. But Yeah, I spent the money on that, and the ARISS conference was $300 to go. So
Jeez.
James Lee was begging me to go because his daughter was making a presentation, and I filmed the entire presentation, and those stupid DJI mics failed me. Right
Ooh.
now, I'm not using the DJI mics now. I'm using the Rode mics because for some reason, I don't know if it's happening now. If anybody's listening, if my voices or our voices are fading in and out, tell me about it in the chat
Yeah.
because I was
Yours are to me.
my voice is fading in and out.
And you get a little bit of a click every so often too.
I have not figured out why that's happening. The only thing I could think of is the volume levels are I don't know, I might be overdriving it, but I got it turned down. It's not in the red, so I should be good. So you got those radios. Do you get to be on the radio often, or are you moving too much to get on the air? And
It's really been more of a problem with weather. Since November, the weather's been really super windy, or I've
right,
been busy doing other things. So I've done a couple of things. Like just last night, I went out and did a POTA activation with KE0VIM, the traveling ham, and we
I
did
actually
a
saw that on my ham alert. I saw you out there.
yeah, did a quick day shift, late shift, and then headed back out because he's actually down the road from me here. So Lake Livingston State Park is kind of halfway between us.
Oh, okay,
Um,
cool.
but yeah, I try to get out, it's just there's always something going on. I mean, right before that, I had a short trip to Charlotte. I did a video on that on my RV channel, and then I had a trip to Orlando Hamcation, and I did a couple of videos on that. And then before that was Quartz Fest. So just been busy,
Yeah.
it's a good time to be a ham.
Well, you're young and virile, so go out there and have
Virile.
fun. I'm getting old. I'm going to be 70 this year, so I have resigned myself to the fact I am a senior citizen and I may get that 50-cent bottomless cup of coffee at Burger King someday.
Nice. You have a
That
chair with your name
coffee,
on it at Denny's?
yeah, right. I'm not a big Denny's guy. But actually, the hotel I was in had a Denny's in it. But knowing the hotel, I was not going to eat there. So, and the good news was at the event at Kennedy Space Center, they had breakfast for us. They had a box lunch for us every
Well,
day,
for
and then I
300 bucks,
paid.
they better.
Oh yeah, I had a nice dinner under the Saturn V in the Saturn V building. That was cool, and it
So
started
you
raining.
were in Huntsville for that? I
No,
forgot where you
that
said you
was
were.
no Kennedy Space Center.
Oh, okay.
You know how Huntsville has the horizontal Saturn V? They have that at Kennedy Space Center too. Same, but I think
Nice.
the Kennedy Space Center one is nicer. I guess I'm biased because I live in Florida, but it's pretty nice. And they set up all the banquet tables out there, and it was pretty cool. We had a good time, and the food was excellent. It was excellent food. So yeah, I didn't have to do anything. I didn't even actually got up and dressed up in a suit. And when I was talking to Richard Godot, this guy, he is the son of the first gentleman who made a ham radio contact from the space shuttle on the little walkie-talkie. They had,
Nice.
and they had the antennas that they used for that. They couldn't poke a hole in the side of the space shuttle, and they didn't want to mount it out in the cargo bay. So what they did was they made a form that matched the front window, and inside that form was a recessed piece of aluminum that's where the antenna was. So literally, they would stick that up in the window of the space shuttle, and you'd have a walkie-talkie connected to it, and that's how he talked to Earth. They are the first ever father-son team that became astronauts, which is pretty interesting. And Richard, after being an astronaut, went out and designed video games, and he's become a multimillionaire now because of that. And he was one of the guys that Hope Lee was explaining to him how they were going to do HF propagation on Mars and on the moon, which is that was damn cool. I don't care what anybody says. Can you imagine transmitting from the moon? Ah,
It would be
I
interesting. I understand, I think it's Japan, maybe I'm wrong, but there is a new ham radio station on the moon right now.
really
Like last in the last month they just dropped it.
like a repeater,
I
or
don't
is
know
it
what
just
they're
like a
doing with it.
beacon?
I've been too busy doing other ham stuff to even try.
Wow, that's cool. Well, one guy got on my podcast one day. I mean, my live feed one day when I was doing an ISS pass. He's from Ormond Beach, which is only about 20 miles south of me. He has a 4 Yagi array and another antenna. So he has 4 Yagi array for transmitting and something else, and he does moon bounce. And I had made a QSO with him on the ISS, which was it was clear as a bell. I couldn't believe how nice it was. And he invited me over. So I'm going to probably go over there one day and he's going to show me his stuff. I'm going to film it and I'm going to do a little video on it. And it sounds really interesting what this guy built. And it's probably something I want to build too. So I shouldn't spend any more money on antennas until I decide how I want to do it. Because all my friends are telling me I got to do Earth, Moon, Earth. I got to do that. So I'll get to it eventually, but I don't know how I'm going to do it. Don is here tonight.
Yeah, Don's got all the answers. JS1YMG is the call sign. It's Japan. Yep.
Oh, okay.
I just saw a quick blurb about it the
I
other
just
day,
saw
and I'm
that
like,
on the. I'm going to
I
write
need
that
to
down
know
so I can
about
try
that.
it. See if I can find it. JS1. So it's Japan sent it up. That's cool.
Yep.
YMG. All right, I got it written down. I'll check it out on QRZ later.
Pamela's here. Hi, Pamela.
Who's Pamela?
It's KO4ESA.
You see, I got to get good at this. I don't know people by their call signs yet.
Oh, I have a lookup service.
So ARL website FTW. What does that mean?
For the win, FTW. That's where he got the answer from.
For the win.
For the win.
I'm slow. Just forgive me. Anyway, I am working on a fundraiser for James Lee, and if you don't know who James Lee is, you haven't been paying attention. Everybody, James Lee is a great neighbor. He's my friend. He lives in my town, and we have a funny origin story. If you go back and watch the podcast I did with him, we talk about it, how we met. And I hated him when I met him, and I told my buddy Jim, who was my Elmer, I said, I'm never talking to that guy again. He's a jerk. And then he went through this situation, and it's just been God's been telling me I got to help this guy any way I can. Because I mean, it's him, his wife, and 4 kids, and they're all in college, and he can't even get Medicaid. And they give it. The guy's he lost his fingers, he lost his legs, and they said, "Oh, we'll give you prosthetics." Okay, great, send him. Oh, we're only going to give you one leg. What is the point in that? Why would you give a man with no legs one leg? Why don't you give him 2? What's the problem? Don't know. That's the kind of red tape he's dealing with. That's why I'm trying to raise money for him, at least help him lighten the burden a little bit. He's over $8 million in debt. Hi, Mike. Hi, Steve. KO4ESA.
That's Pamela again.
Oh, that's Pamela. Nice to meet you, Pamela. Who's WRJR757?
I would assume that's her GMRS call sign.
Oh, that's right.
Mine is WRNY996, so that's the GMRS format.
If I didn't put it on the label on the handheld, I'd forget it.
Smart man. That's what I did.
Yeah, I put a label on it. And I leave it on all the time because when we get tornado warnings and hurricanes, they activate the net, and I'm one of the spotters for them. So I'll report what I'm seeing. And who knew when I moved here how many different types of weather we can have in a day.
Right.
Florida is the only place where in the morning you got the heat on, and in the afternoon you turn on the AC, and then that night you turn the heat back on. It's crazy. It goes from like last night it got down to 48, and then today it was up to 84. Like we should have had a tornado today with that change in the weather, but I guess not. So, of all your travels with ham radio and all the events you go to and the things you do, you have multiple channels also. You have an RV channel. Tell everybody about all your different channels on YouTube.
Yes, I've got a couple of different channels. I have a channel called Living for a Living, and it's youtube.com/@livingforalivingRV, all one word. And that's where I document all of my RV traveling mishaps and misadventures. And then I have a retro tech channel called Temporarily Offline Retro Tech. And what I used to do with my original channel was I did a little bit of retro tech and a little bit of ham radio. And YouTube doesn't like it when your channel is something and something. They don't know how to figure out how to send different videos to different people. So I split those channels off, and I really haven't had a chance to do any retro tech videos lately. I've got some ideas, I just don't have time. And what I did over there was I built like a ZX81, I built a Commodore 64, I repaired a bunch of other computers, just playing around with old stuff. I played with FreeDOS.
I remember those.
Yeah. And then my ham radio channel is the one I spend most of my time doing stuff on. Thank you, Don.
Well, you also do coffee and ham radios.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And
that's a team effort.
Yeah. And what else you do? You got other ones you do too. You do other shows. I've
I
seen you
have
on with
a
Greg.
Yep, I have a show with Hayden, who was in the chat earlier. I don't know if he's still here. Hayden and I do a show Sundays my time. I think it's Monday morning his time
Right.
before work, and that's called Ham Radio Nonsense. And this past weekend we talked about the theft of the 200-foot tower in Alabama, in Jasper, Alabama.
Oh, I just
Theft.
noticed that Hayden was here. Ham Radio DX. That's him.
Yep.
Yeah, he's got a great channel too. I will tell you, Hayden saved my butt. When I first got into it, I was listening to what everybody else said. I bought an Alloance HD1. I had a whiz kid with Pi-Star set it up. Took him 3.5 hours to get it to work on DMR, and I was like, "Why
Thanks,
am I
Pamela.
even wasting my time with this?" And then the death knell to DMR was when I got my RFinder B1, and it never worked. It was always messing up, and I said, "I'm done with this. I don't want to have anything to do with it." And I returned it, and I used that money to buy my Yaesu rotor that I do the satellites with. So it worked out great. But I got away from DMR. I don't need DMR, but I love doing satellites. I love doing local 2 meter 70 centimeter because I look at 2 meter 70 centimeter. It's a tool. You go into a ham fest, you want to talk to your buddy while he's driving down the road, whatever, you do that. But the HF is where it's at, and that's what I love doing. And 2 meter 70 centimeter is great for birds when the satellites come over. I love doing that, but I really do love HF. I love doing FT8. Got 166 countries. Not all FT8. Most of them are FT8. But I do have to. If I do get my extra, which I am not going to stop until I get it, I'll probably get a different call sign, and then I'll just close that first log and start a new one with the new call sign, and try to do it again and try to get voice on all these different bands. I love how the extra portions of the bands are so quiet because there's
Hmm.
not a lot of people there. I haven't found any really good things to listen to there, but I know that every time I go there, it's quiet, and you come across a conversation every now and then in the areas of the extra band. So I really want to get that just to be able to experiment with it. So right now, funny story. Yesterday, I had a J pole on about a 25-foot mast, and I liked it. It was working good, but I really wanted to put my Comet, my Diamond 300 on there again, which is about a 10-foot antenna, and I wanted to raise it up another 5 feet. So I put it on a 30-foot pole, and I went to raise it up, and I have the tilt base from DX Engineering. It's like two plates, and you loosen two screws, and then one side will go down like this, right? Well, I'm doing it by myself. Well, when you're starting to lift a 30-foot Army tent pole, it's not heavy. It can get out of hand. You can lose it.
Yeah, they don't like to go up from this position to this position.
What do you mean? Oh,
The
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 poles.
the fiberglass poles don't like to do that for
Well,
me.
these are aluminum poles, and
Okay.
I did was I got LMR 400 going up the pole, and I tie wrapped it all along the pole so the sections won't come apart while I'm trying to lift it. And the only problem was it was a little awkward. And if you ever used one of those tilt plates from DX Engineering, the nuts you have to loosen them, get it vertical, and then drop them into slots and tighten them up. And then you got to tighten two on the bottom. Well, in the process of moving, it was windy yesterday. It twisted and it bent the U clamps. So I couldn't get them in the thing. So I had to lay it back down. So I left it laying down with the pole leaning on a sawhorse. What I forgot was I still had my radio connected to it. And this morning I'm doing an ISS pass, and damn it, I was making contacts. My signal was reaching the ISS. The thing is this high off the ground, and I'm hitting I'm hitting the ISS,
Right.
and then I looked. I went, "Oh crap! I got to put it on the Yagi." I flipped the switch. It was better once I put the Yagi on it instead of the vertical that was laying 3 feet off the ground. But it
So
worked.
you want horizontal polarization to reach the ISS. That's your trick.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. That was the plan. I did that on
Yeah.
purpose,
Yeah.
Steve.
Yeah, of course.
It
See,
was a
this is how you become an
serendipitous.
extra.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of extra,
I meant to do that.
yeah, that's exact. I'm like a cat. Like when the cat runs across the room and knocks over the vase, I meant to do that. That was exactly
Right.
what I wanted to do. That's great.
So
Anyway,
speaking of extra,
Jim Reed is working on the new extra questions. There are going to be new extra questions this year. I believe they're coming out with their book on ham radio prep is putting out the questions in May, and they will go into effect in July. So you could start studying in May for the new questions. And I said to him, I said, can you do me a favor? Why do I got to know plate temperature on a tube? I'm not building a radio. I'm just using the radios. Why do they make the test so hard that it doesn't relate to reality is what I'm saying. If you teach me something and talk to me and tell me it, I'll remember it forever. But if I read it in a book, I walk out of the room, I come back, I'll forget
Right.
it. I don't
I'm
have
a
the kind of
hands-on.
mind. I don't have the kind of mind that can retain all that. And that's what's been my problem.
Like for general, the whole lower sideband, upper sideband thing didn't make any sense to me until I actually did a QSO party.
Right.
Oh, when I'm doing my signal, it's lower sideband, and that lower sideband goes 3 kilohertz to the south of my center frequency. That makes sense,
Guess who
you know?
just jumped in the chat? You see the Facebook user?
Yeah, who's that?
That's Jim Reed. I just
Oh,
checked
okay.
on Facebook. I was scrolling by and you mentioned my name. Yeah, I did. I'm telling all kinds of secrets about you, Jim. So make sure you clean up your act. Kidding. But it's correct me if I'm wrong, Jim. It's May. Your ham radio prep is going to come out with the questions, so you can start studying. And in July they go into effect. But that's correct. Tell me in the chat so I know if you're still there. I
Hey,
don't know if you're
James.
still there. But yeah, Jim's
And
a
I
great
saw
guy.
Jim in the chat too.
Jim who?
Jim, No Limb Jim.
Oh, No Limb Jim. Oh, he's in. Yeah. And the Smoking Ape is here. Hey, Smoking Ape, you're pretty popular, dude. Although Tio is not beating the attendance record that you set at 26. We only got 12 people watching this right now, but that's enough. Slowly but surely, we're gonna get to 1,000, and then I'll get 4,000 hours watched. Have you watched any of my videos from Hamcation?
I was at Hamcation. Why would I watch anybody's videos from Hamcation?
Because you
No, I
didn't get
watched
the
some
you
of
didn't
them.
get the free brisket.
I did not. I didn't even know it existed until you told me about it. And you told me about
Yeah,
it
it's
after I was going home. Thanks, Mike.
if you watch them, it's one of my most popular videos on my channel. Watch the video and you'll meet Larry. I forget his call sign, but the last three letters are LTT. So he goes by Loud Talking Trucker. And he's got a Peterbilt with a giant custom box on it to sleep in. And he's been driving that thing for years. It's got 3 axles on the back, and all it does is move heavy duty farm equipment and major, like, wide loads.
Nice.
And he cooked 44 pounds of brisket on Friday and was fed over 100 people at his trailer, which was right there. And it was like if you walked up to the bathrooms and go around the bathrooms and look straight back, you see a big orange semi. That's him. And he said he's
Yeah,
coming
very
every
good.
year to do that. So next year, when you go to Hamcation, don't be paying $10 for an ice cream cone. Go over to see Larry and get some free brisket. He did so, and he made the most delicious barbecued beans. I don't know what he did to him. There must have been a half a pig in the thing. There was so much bacon. It was so delicious. Oh my God. And
Bacon makes
yeah,
everything
I ate
better.
there twice. I ate there. And he didn't care. He's like, yeah, come on over. Then you sit and you talk, shoot the breeze. I did a whole video on the 6 Yaesu radios he has in the passenger seat of that truck.
Nice.
That was impressive. And he has 3 cats living with him in the truck. Think about that. I couldn't do that. I'm allergic to cats. My eyes would be puffy up. I'd be sneezing and coughing the whole time. But they were cute. They came out when I put the camera in there to shoot. You see them coming in. One little one came out from underneath the seat to look at me. And when I looked at him, he ran away. So I don't know. But
I
Larry's a
took a
great
cat in
guy.
a car once and it just whined the entire trip. It was the most
Yeah.
miserable experience of my life. Sure, it wasn't good for the cat either.
Ham Radio World says briskets on the calendar for next year. Yeah, I will definitely go to Orlando often. I like going there. It's close. It takes me an hour and
I was to
40
say, it's
minutes.
not far for you.
No, it's not bad at all. I love Orlando, and I love the weather was perfect this year. It did rain a little
$18
bit
corn
during
dog.
the
You
night.
can't beat an $18 corn dog, Eric.
Yeah, this guy was not selling the brisket. He was giving it away. I said to him, are you sure you want to say that in the video? So, don't worry about it. I said, because there's going to be a lot more people here next year that are
Oh
going
yeah,
to want
yeah.
to come
It's
to your
now known.
truck.
I'm going.
And
The other thing that
he can't hide that
the
freaking
big
truck and
orange truck,
food.
yeah, yeah.
It sticks out like a
No, the
sore
thing that I missed, did you get one of those coconuts? I wanted one of those coconuts.
coconuts. What was that?
Yeah, there was a guy with fresh coconuts and a machete up front, and he would cut the top off of it and give you a straw. And then when you were
Oh
done
wow.
drinking all the coconut water, he'd say, "Come on back, we'll cut it in half for you. And you can get the coconut meat out from inside of it." Definitely doing that next year if he's
Well, if
there.
you're ever constipated, that's a nice remedy, just so you know. Did you have an emergency later on in the day? Just drinking that coconut water, that'll do it to you.
Hmm.
But as long as you enjoyed it and everybody had a good time, that's all that matters.
So once a year is not bad.
No, I was. It was a lot of fun. Hamcation has always been a lot of fun. I've been there now 3 times. Yeah, one time I stayed at a hotel right on the road there, which was another sketchy hotel, but it was so close. It was less than a mile away.
Yeah.
And then once I stayed way out by the Ferris wheel.
That was the Quality Inn and Suites.
No, it was. Hold on, I don't remember it. Best Western.
Okay.
It was the Best
Yeah, I stayed
Western,
at the
right?
Quality Inn the first time.
Yeah. And then one time I was at some expensive hotel way out west, but the Rosen wasn't bad, except for the fact my shower had prostate issues. That's how I described it. I was I had to like little, just imagine a little trickly water trying to wash your hair and get the soap out. It was crazy. But they fixed it that day. They put a new shower head on, so it was better for the rest of
Nice.
the trip. Like one of the dresser drawers. I have been so disillusioned by hotels lately. I
Oh, I don't do
remember
hotels.
as a kid, the hotels were gorgeous. Everything was nice. The floor, now they're all run down. Nobody's renovating anything. And I couldn't open one of the drawers of the dresser. Who knows? There might have been a dead body in there and it just warped out of shape and you couldn't pull it out. And I was
Yep.
like, I didn't need it, but thought that was odd. They don't maintain these places. The
I
hotel I
try my
stayed at,
best for hotels to find one at like 9:30 p.m., go to sleep, wake up, and leave. Like that's all I want out of a hotel is a dry bed in a mostly
right.
safe building. So my rule is if there's bulletproof glass in the lobby, I go to the next hotel. But that's it.
Well, you were staying at the event, but by
Yep.
the
I was at the fairgrounds at the
where
campground.
we were all in the Rosen International. And you think, oh, the Rosen International sounds spiffy. Yeah, no, it's not.
It
It's
was
way
last
ahead.
year's famous hotel. It like it used to be a Holiday Inn or something, and Holiday Inn moved a
Well,
block
when I
away.
got there the first day, I pulled into the driveway. I told them I was checking in. They let me in the parking lot. I checked in and I got my room. And then I left and drove to the venue to get my press credentials and stuff like that. Oh, no, I left to go to the Parks on the Air thing. So I leave. Well, I came back. It was dark out. There are 3 Rosen hotels along International Drive right there.
Yep.
So I see the Rosen sign. I pull in. I'm like, wait a minute. This isn't where I'm staying. This isn't the hotel I was at. So I back out. I said, let me go further down the road. So I went further down the road. I pulled into, I think it was a Holiday Inn. And it was 2 guys standing out front. So I rolled down the window. I said, excuse me, you know where the Rosen Hotel is? They go, we never heard of it. I'm like, wait a minute. They work there, right? So I'm like, what is this? You never heard of it? So you're hoping I stop and stay at your hotel? Is that what the point is? Is this a sales technique? I'm like,
Right.
what do you mean you didn't hear of it? There's 3 of them on this road. What are you talking about? No, I never saw it. I never heard of it. Okay. So then I went down a little further, and lo and behold, I see another Rosen sign, and I realized it was right by the gas station and that giant McDonald's. You had to go between those 2 buildings to get up to the hotel, and that's when I had a landmark now to remember. Because at night it looks completely different than it did during the day. All the lights and the rides all over the road. It was incredible. But we did have a great time. We sat around smoking cigars, and then we went out to Hooters the first night. Had some leftover wings because they had buy one get one. So I bought 20 wings.
Oh, you took leftover wings home. Okay.
Yeah,
You went to Hooters and
yeah,
got leftover wings. Really?
yeah.
The place has gone downhill since I was there 20 years ago.
No, I'll tell you though, the chicks ain't what they used to be at Hooters. They're not.
Your taste has improved, Mike. They're the same girls.
No, no, I look at it and go, really? This is supposed to be sexy? All right, who's texting me? Alan. Oh, he's telling my buddy Alan. He's if you ever see him on here, he'll say, Alan, you're tech. He's telling me
Yeah.
my
He's
audio is
he's
going
on
up and
here.
down again.
Yeah, he's on here watching you. Trying to talk to you. You're not listening.
Well, I know because I'm looking at you and I'm talking to you. Let's see. What does he say? I gotta have to get him over here and help me work this out. Audio goes up and down with a pop sound every so often from you. That's what you said too.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it's doing that all of a sudden.
I got your back, Alan. Don't you worry.
Oh, there's your. I didn't see you there,
Yeah. So
Alan.
Alan's going to be on
Sorry.
Coffee and Ham Radios, I hear. Nice.
Am I using Vox? No, I'm not using Vox. I have a Rode wireless mic hooked up to my lapel mic here, and the mixer is just to my right over there, and it's going directly into the mixer and out over the air. So I don't know why it's popping and what the issue is, but
You guys and your fancy technology, every one of you with all the extra technology has problems. I'm using a
here,
Bluetooth
just so you can
headset,
see, there's my
and
mixer.
that's it.
That's my mixing board over there.
Way too
And
fancy. What are you mixing?
I have my 9700 going into that. I have my 7300 going into that. I have my FTM 400 going into that because I used to run the net down here and I would actually stream it while I was running the net. And yeah, I have all that. I have 5 different things. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5 different things connected to it. So 3 radios, the boom mic. I originally wanted this so I could use the boom mic on the radio and the mixer at the same time when I did live streaming. Then I realized it's better to just use the boom mic for the radio and use this mic. And it's been working fine. And then all of a sudden it started going south on me. And I don't know what it is. So I'll have to experiment a little more. Maybe I'll get Alan on the line one
And you
day.
don't have any audio filtering in OBS, do you?
No, no. The only thing I have, I put a filter on the audio out of the mixer into the computer because I was getting a ground loop hum. You know how
Hmm.
that is? I was getting that. So I put that filter on there. Thank you, Greg, K6EGG, for telling me to get that. He also told me the splitter to get for the microphone so I could use it on the mixer and the computer and the radio at the same time.
Yeah. It
So
sounds like you're hitting a noise gate or something.
yeah, that's why I checked my levels and turned them down a little bit on OBS because so like right now,
Not not the noise gate that closes your mic when you're too loud, the noise gate that opens your mic when you start talking.
really,
Yeah.
that's interesting. Like I said, really, and it went all the way up to the yellow, and then I said that's interesting, and it dropped down to about 35. That's weird. I just said
I don't
that's
know.
weird, and it was low. So yeah, I'm watching the VU meter on OBS. That's how I know. So To, what do you want to promote? What do you got that you're working on that you want to get followers and let everybody
Yeah,
know?
yeah. We are working on a new antenna over at Coffee and Ham Radios. The boys and I are putting together some magic over there. You saw it at Orlando Hamcation, the vertical that we're running. It is a Rybakoff kit. We call it the Poseidon, and it is a vertical 25 foot with a 4-to-1 on the bottom. You get some radials with it. Use your internal tuner on your radio and go make some big contacts. And that goes in our long line of other antenna kits that we have, and it all uses that same fantastic nylon winder that we've got patented and trademarked and copyrighted and registered, and it's a service mark, and it's got its own opportunities and everything. I mean, we have to bow when it enters the room, but it's a good price for you guys. It's over at coffeeandhamradios.com, and it's a kit that you build yourself, and you can kind of customize it however you want, but we've got a variety of antennas that use that same frame. So we've got a 9-to-1 that needs a tuner. We've got an end-fed half wave that does not. We've got a Lynx dipole. We've got this vertical that we're working on now. And then after that one's done, we might finally get that Moxon out the door as well. So
Yeah, the Moxon looks interesting. That's
yeah, that's
that's
gonna be a lot of fun.
that is that aimable, a Moxon?
Yes, it's like a Yagi, but only about 1,000 times better.
It's like a rectangle, right? And one side's open.
Yeah. Yeah, so one side is your driven element, and then to make up the rest of the rectangle is your reflector.
I got an antenna at Huntsville. The first time I went to Huntsville, a guy said it's great for satellites. Let me see. Yes, I have it right here. I'm going to show you this antenna. And I tried this. I got nothing. This little gizmo.
Hmm.
He says this is good for satellites. You got a
Why?
SO239 right here. And you
What
have
makes
this.
that good for satellites?
I have no idea. He's got
Which
all
one's
kinds
the
of.
driven element, and which one, the little tiny circle's the driven element? Or is it,
Yes.
one's center and one's ground, or is it two
Oh,
halves
here's
of a
the center.
dipole?
Here goes to this one. But that's not isolated from this one. They're connected. These two are connected.
So the whole thing is driven.
I guess. I guess that's what it is. I tried it on, I just put it on a little 10-foot PVC to hold it up. I couldn't get anything on it, but it's supposed to be 2 meter and 70 centimeter. This is 70 centimeters. This is 2 meter.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. You were making it
So,
backward. You were pointing in the wrong direction.
So this is 70, and and he says it's omnidirectional. I have yet to be able to get it to work, but I'm going to play with it some
I
more.
bet I bet you were I bet you were wrongly polarized is my guess.
Well, polarization is what? You mean the center pin and the shield were different,
No, so like if you take your Yagi and you point it horizontally, you
right?
are going to be 20 dB down from your repeater that's pointed vertically. And that's why, I mean,
Okay.
when you're working the bird, you rotate the antenna back and forth. And
Hmm.
if you had that thing just sitting straight up on a pole, you're horizontally polarized and the satellite's floating up here above you. So you wanted to point it up at the bird. That's my guess.
Alan says this is the most metal antenna AF antenna. So yeah,
So you
it's
didn't
all
know what
metal.
FTW means. Do you know what AF means?
Yes, I'm not
Okay,
going
just
to
making
say it
sure.
because I don't want to get kicked off YouTube.
Just making sure.
That's why I said AF and not as you
Yep.
know what,
Yep.
as fudge.
Old Ape says it's a halo antenna, and he would be correct. That man's smarter than any three
Ah,
people I
that's a
know.
halo.
I don't know
So
many people though.
it's right that I have a halo because I'm an angel. I can just wear it
Right?
like this. There I am. Okay, look like some Catholic saint. So you're doing all these different channels and you're having a good time with it, and you're probably making $1 million too, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. I retired 10 years ago.
That's why you got
I
rid of your
just do
house
this for
because
fun.
you were so rich.
I just didn't need it anymore. It was keeping me down.
So what state are you in right now?
I am in Texas.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, and
You
then I'm going down to Galveston Island next week after the Houston Ham Fest, and then we're heading back north to go back up to Wisconsin, which is where I was for the last 10 years.
are you
I've got
meeting up
some.
with Jason and Mike and them down at Galveston, or are you just going down there on your own?
I'm going down for the Houston Ham Fest this weekend, and both of them should be there. And then after that, I'm staying at one of the parks in the area, and then I'm headed back north, um, and running into people along the way.
Sweet, sweet. Well, good for you, man. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on here, Tio.
It's been a blast, man.
And
Thanks.
just for blank and giggles, tell them what TO means and how you ended up with TO as your name.
Yeah, so about 25 years ago or so, I used to build data centers back before we knew what cloud was. We didn't have a word for it. We called it, dedicated hosting or co-located hosting. And then we got into what's called virtual private servers, which then became cloud computing. And it's just somebody else's computer on the internet. So I used to build data centers, and then I sold that business in 2006 and made my billions. That's where my first billions came from. And if you believe that, I got another Halo antenna to sell you. Um, and when I sold it, I sold off my domain name, my email account went with it. I had nothing. I went to Gmail, and I did not want like S McRain 2073 or something like that, or I didn't want any numbers or anything, and everything was taken. So finally, I just typed in temporarily offline because I was at that moment temporarily offline. I didn't know what I was going to do next, but I was going to do it, and so that stuck. And since it's my Gmail account, that was definitely my YouTube account to begin with, and I changed the name around a little bit, but I still like it. I like TO. It sticks.
Well, isn't that a nice little message Alan just sent me? He's got the bridge. So I guess that means we're going to get Wires X on our. We're going
No,
to
he
let
was talking
people.
about that antenna that you couldn't get to work.
Oh,
Somebody told you it was the best antenna for satellites, and you bought it.
I almost brought it back to Huntsville 2 years ago. I was going to bring it back to the guy and say, "Give me my money back." He charged me $80 for that thing, and I'm like getting sucked into these
Right,
things.
right.
That was before I knew any better. I'm like, satellites, I'll buy it. Yeah, and no, I spent a lot of money I shouldn't have spent. But
I don't know. I think you should try it on a handheld boom and aim it at the bird. Prove him wrong.
I'm getting major text messages right now. Has nothing to do with my audio though. Well, I hope this was acceptable to some people and they enjoyed our little chat. You're a great guy. I love watching your videos. Sometimes it goes a little above my head, but I'm like, I'll get there eventually. I'll start understanding all this stuff. Ape is the guy that gets me going over my head, but Mike can get me to buy anything. I bought so many things because, as a matter of fact, the first time I met him at Hamcation, he said to me, "How much money have you spent from what I've done online?" I'm like, "Almost all of it." He had. I even bought that little load thing that measures if your battery's really a 10 amp hour battery. And I just got myself a 100 amp hour battery that my radios all run on now, and
Nice.
makes it quiet. It helps. The charger kicks on every now and then, but I got a 20 amp charger, so it'll charge in 5 hours if it's completely dead. So I usually tell it to charge before I go to bed at night, and in the morning it never comes on during the day because I never use that much juice. But
Well,
Tio,
you're
it's been
hamming pretty
great.
hard.
Does anybody have any questions? Come on now with a question. Let's see. I'm just going through the chat real quick. I like to watch. Oh, this is a nice one. I like to watch the satellite videos. Haven't gotten into that part of the hobby yet. Attempting to learn Morse code this year. Wow, you ain't gonna get on satellites for a while if you're learning Morse code. Because once you get into Morse code, it's like a hypnotic state you go in when
I
you
don't know.
study.
She's got an advantage. She doesn't
Yeah.
have that male pride stuff to get in the way.
If you want to do satellites, though, as a matter of fact, I just called them tonight. This little baby right here, the Wushan. It's the KG. I mean, KG-Q10H. This is my recommendation if you're going to do portable satellite, and I'll tell you why. Right here on the side, 2 separate PTTs. So you can have
Nice.
your receive on the BVFO and control the Doppler effect with the dial up here and still transmit on the AVFO, which stays fixed on the transmit band.
Hmm.
So this works. I actually, when I was down at Kennedy Space Center, I thought this was so ironic. I made an ISO, I made a contact on the ISS from the parking lot at Kennedy Space Center, which is
God,
pretty cool.
nice.
Since that's where the ISS came from, they shot it up there on rockets and shuttles and built it up there. And I made a call there. So that was pretty cool. But I just called them because I want to do a review of this and really promote it as a satellite radio. And when I told the guy on the phone, this is the best satellite radio for portable use I've ever seen, it's better. All right. The gods are going to kill me for this. It's better than the Kenwood D72. It's better
Uh-oh.
because Kenwood D72 has one PTT. So to change the Doppler effect, you got to switch to the BVFO, change the Doppler effect, go back to the AVFO, key your mic and talk. And it's cumbersome. This is just 2 buttons. Boom, boom, boom. Transmit, receive, transmit, receive. Absolutely incredible. So yeah, if you want a good satellite, and this is a quad band. This is not
I was gonna
just
say,
a
I think
dual
that's a
band.
quad band, yeah.
Yeah, it's a quad band. It's got 6 and what's the 1.2 gigahertz?
2200.
2200. That's what it is. It's got the 2200, 6 meter, 70 centimeter, and 2 meter on it. So
Is it
very
2200 or
easy.
is it 1.2 gigahertz? You said 1.2. I thought you were talking about something else.
I think it's 1.2. I know it had 2 antennas came with it, 2 different antennas based on which band you're on. But
23 centimeters. Don's got it.
yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. Yeah, I didn't fast forward. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I did it at Hamcation. I had a kid there who follows us here, and he wanted to do satellite. So I said, meet me at 3 o'clock in the field behind the bathroom. He did. He came over. I set my whole elk antenna up for him.
Nice.
And I set up the radio, and I said, all you gotta do is adjust this dial to get you and use the AVFO PTT, and you'll be fine. And he made his first contact on the ISS, and he was giddy about it. I thought that was really sweet that he enjoyed it that much. Um, so yeah, it's nice when there's so many people I talk to on the satellites almost every day that I got them to pick up one of these. This is the Sat Box. You want to do satellites, you need this. This is the best. My next attempt is going to be to make a Go box with a Sat Box built in, and I don't know what kind of radio I'm going to. Maybe the 2730 or the any ICOM radio that box will work with. So 9700. If I win the lottery, I'll buy another 9700. I cannot
Your
believe how
buddy,
expensive.
your
I think I
buddy
paid.
Alan wants to know about the 300 megahertz offset on the Baofeng.
Oh, I haven't tried that, Alan. Where's that? I'll put him on the screen.
Danielle Coleman, he's using his wife's phone, so now we know his wife's name too.
Danielle Coleman. Wow. Joke's on me. My phone died. I'm using a wife's phone. Welcome back, Alan. Anyway, tell Danielle we said thank you. But yeah, I have not. Alan came up with an idea. This is what's great about Alan because he wasn't an old hand that learned everything when there were tubes. He's a new guy that has fresh ideas and he's inventing new stuff and he's trying new
Nice.
antennas. And that's why him and Ape are getting along so
I
good.
like him already, yeah.
Yeah, because he's not stuck in a mold where this is it's always been done and you have to do it this way, otherwise you're gonna no. He's very good and he's got a great mind. This guy had his extra before he owned a radio. I'll just say that. He had his extra before he owned a radio. He took the extra exam at the same time I did. He passed, I failed. And I'm like, okay, can I cheat next time? Can I put in a disguise on you? You go take the test for me. You know? But Alan's a great guy, and I'm helping him out. I picked up a couple of toroids for him to help him build some antennas. I gave him a roll of magnet wire, and he's going to town because that's what he's into. Me, I want to get out there and use this stuff. I want to do parks on the air. I want to do whatever I can with my radio when I go out and have fun with it. But I don't really need to know why are there 13 wines on this toroid and why is this a 15 UF capacitor as opposed to a 10 UF. I don't care about that. Just tell me it works and let me go play with it. And that's how I am. So you're not going to see me doing a lot of analytical videos with a nano VNA showing you the spurless emissions. It was funny because Mike said to me, you have to do that so you know that you got a good radio. I said, no, I watch you. And if you tell me it's good radio, I trust you and I believe you. So then I'll go out and buy it. Then if I have a problem with it, like I made that mistake
You can
once.
blame Mike, yeah.
No, I made that mistake once where I listened to a guy and I found out this guy he did not actually use this radio before he made a video on it where he praised it. It sounds like the next best thing since sliced bread, but it turns out it's garbage. And the dealers know this is garbage. They get many of them back. We've heard from people, they won't say it publicly, but they'll say it privately. Like, yeah, like every one of these we sell comes back. And I just sit there like, I believe this guy that he said it was a great radio. And I went out to use it and I couldn't get a repeater 2 miles away from me. And I was like, why am I wasting my time and money on 6, I guess it was probably like 5 weeks of troubleshooting and upgrading and trying new beta versions. And I finally said to the guy, if you gave me the radio and asked me to do this, I would do it gladly. But to spend $1,000 on a radio and it doesn't do it, I'm sorry. To me, that's not. I actually said that to the guy. I said, when you made that video about this radio, did you actually use it at that point? He goes, oh, I got one now. I'm selling it. I said, yeah, everybody has one selling it. Nobody wants to keep them. But what are you going to do? I would never sell that radio. I returned it to Gigaparts and they gave me store credit. And that's what I bought my Yaesu rotor with. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm doing satellites with it. I'm happy and I'm done with it. But I won't have anything to do with that guy anymore. I won't mention names. But anyway, so all right. Great to have you here tonight. We've been on for 57 minutes. I can talk, I'll tell you. You didn't do a lot of talking, but the talking you did was very interesting, and I'm very happy you were here.
I couldn't get a word in edgewise, Mike.
I'm trying to work on that. Did everybody have a good time? Do you enjoy this? Next week is the week before the benefit I'm doing. A week from Saturday, March 9th, we're doing a ham fest here in Palm Coast for my buddy James Lee, who also was in the room watching before. And we have the Elks Club has donated their space. And there was some stuff that went on today where it looked like it might fall through. And I said, no, it's not going to fall through. We're going to get this. And I wrangled in a couple of guys from the Elks to help me with it, run security, to make sure the money gets collected and all that. So they're going to be there helping me. Thank you, Jesus, for those guys. And we're going to try to raise some money. Now, I have been hitting up everybody from Gigaparts to HRO to Ham Radio Deluxe to Ham Radio Prep to SD Rockets. Do you remember SD Rockets when you were a kid?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
They gave me a bunch of rockets to give away.
Sweet.
At this Ham Fest. DX Engineering gave me 2 $50 gift certificates and a case of catalogs because nobody has a DX Engineering catalog.
Never. Right.
You buy a roll of tape from them, they send you a catalog. It's crazy. But yeah, I got a bunch of catalogs, so that's cool. And what else? We got I got all kinds of stuff. I bought some ARISS t-shirts I'm going to give away. Only 2, but I'm giving them away.
You're just a giveaway fool, aren't you?
Oh, well, I want these guys to know, like, I actually had somebody complain about the price. We're charging $30 for an inside table, $20 for parking space outside, and $20 to get in if you're not selling stuff. And everybody's complaining about the price. And I'm like, you don't understand. We are not paying for a ham fest. You are donating to a charity to help a guy.
Right.
And if you don't have $20 to donate to somebody that went through what Jim went through, then don't come. It's okay with me. Don't come. I don't worry about it. But I could get $20 any day of the week for anybody whenever there's a need. So I'm not worried about that. I won't give $100, but I got $20.
Right.
Throw that on coffees in the morning for Pete's sakes. If I was working still. So anyway, it's next Wednesday. Either James Lee or his daughter Hope are going to be on the podcast. James
Nice.
has been on the podcast before, and we had a great, interesting talk. We talked about his backstory when he worked with Jim Cantori as his cameraman, and that we talked about. You can go watch that video from a couple of weeks ago. But this will be talking about the benefit we're running and Hope, her hopes and dreams. This girl, her plan. I mean, we're not talking like pipe dreams. She wants to be an astronaut and originate the first ham radio contact from the moon. That's her plan. She wants to land on the moon and be the first ham radio contact from there. And I think because she made so many connections this weekend, if she's not the first astronaut to do it, she'll definitely be on the end receiving it from somebody that's doing it. So I wish her luck, and she has such great hopes and aspirations. It's so appropriate. Her name is Hope, and she's at Embry-Riddle University now, 17 years old. I think she's a sophomore there. So yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for coming. I'm making you think of spending some money, huh? KO4 ESA. Feel free. It's okay.
Yeah.
Have money. We all do that. Danielle, you don't look good in shorts. Oh, wait, that's right. That's Alan. Never mind. It's Alan. What do you say here? I need to get this off my chest. I got a radio in the mail today. It says Baofeng on it, model F22.
What's he doing buying an FRS radio?
That's an FRS radio, Alan, which you can use. You don't need
No,
a
it's great.
license
That's how
for
you
that.
get kids into ham radio. Just give it to them and say, go on, and you can go until you can't talk to me anymore. Well, I can't go that far. Well, then you need to get your ham radio license. Then you
Right.
can go to Australia.
He got 2 of them for the kids. Oh, that
See,
is so
Alan knows.
cool.
Alan knows. Take your kids to a
Alan, that's
campground, go
so
camping for the
great.
weekend, give them some radios and some
I
bikes,
can't
and
wait to bring mine with. Oh, I don't have FRS. I have the other one, GMRS.
GMRS. Yep, they can use
Yeah.
it.
Wow, cool for you, Alan. I can't wait until you get to show that off with the kids. I want to hear them saying, talking to each other. His kids are very little. His daughter, I think, is 4 or 5, and his son is like 6, I think.
Uh-oh. Don just bought a radio you mentioned.
Well, make sure you tell them that I was the one that told you to buy it. Here it is, right here, the Wushan, and they were out of stock. They're supposed to be in stock. The only place you can get it is buy2wayradios.com. If you bought it from anybody else, it's not the right radio.
Right.
So buy2wayradios.com. It's about $219, brand new. So get it. And if you want to know how to do it, how to use it, I will do a video on that eventually. All right, T.O., we're over time. I just want to say thank you very much for coming. You did great. Thank you for filling in
I've
for
done this
me.
before.
You think?
Yeah,
I
once or
think
twice.
I'm
A
missing
week.
your sign behind your head. That's the one thing I'm missing. You didn't hang
Yeah,
that.
I got a tree in the way of my internet connection out there.
Oh, okay. Anyway, take care, Steve. Thank you so much again, and
Yeah,
have
thank
a
you,
great
Mike.
trip. Get home safe. I'll see you soon.
See
KO4
ya.
PDIs 73, Steve. All right, anybody else still watching? Thank you so much. Let's see, what's this? Oh, completed technician license in June of 20. Completed my general license in December of 20. That's nice. You competed, you've got your extra. I am jealous. I hate you, but that's okay. Good for you. I don't have my extra yet. I'm working on it. But thank you so much. Have a nice evening, folks. Tony York, thanks for coming. Don, thanks for coming. Alan, thanks for coming. Who else is on here? We got I said Don. I said Don. I said Danielle. I think we got everybody. Eric. Got Eric. And what's his name? Andy. Andy Cowley. You're probably in bed by now. Thank you, everyone, for watching. This is Kilo Oscar 4, Papa Delta India, telling you to have fun with your ham radio. Don't get into arguments with people. Don't argue about antennas. Don't play that game. Just have fun with your radios. Get out there, get on the air, and use them, and get me in your log. All right? Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. And getting my extra by Easter. Oh, you're one of them. I saw that video. Yeah. All right, 73, Don. Thank you for coming. KO4 PDI. I will be clear. See you next week with Hope Lee and James Lee.